Hello, Epic Gamers. How are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Could be worse. It's important to be grateful, you know. Well, I had a recent mushroom trip that made it very apparent to me how lucky I am. There's so much that you don't see. That's what I kept saying to myself. There's so much to be grateful for. Today, I believe I'm going to talk about. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. It's about time. I've spoke about it before. Never really in its own video holistically. I didn't want to speak about it too soon. Just because of the nature of the topic and the way that people would like react to it. But I'll tread carefully and be respectful. But yeah, I mean, if you've read the title, so I'll just say it how it is. I won't be unnecessary with like details. I don't want to push any bound anyone's boundaries or nothing if it's like a sensitive topic, because I get it to an extent, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna publicly say who, or I'm gonna try and like keep everything as, but I'm gonna tell the story as much as I feel is necessary, because I've found a few similar cases. Adeptus Psychonautica. I actually done a podcast with him. He's familiar with it. He talks a lot about being grounded with psychedelics, which is I learned a lot about after this happened. I moved back in with my mother, and because I was alone in a flat abusing mushrooms, and this is what I'm going to talk about here. Is if you saw, I went through a phase of taking a step back and becoming more rational in a lot of ways, which is, but people recognize it now, which is quite good. But I'm not here to talk about me really. But what I'm saying is, say Leo Gura, there's a clip of him on my Instagram. He says, if you abuse these substances, your life will turn upside down. Mr. Nature then commented, bullshit, in the comments. That's Miss Sunshine's boyfriend. I did a podcast with both of them. They're cool. They live in the eco villages and that. It's all holistically about the same thing. But yeah, so all right, let's get to it. I'll stop wasting your time. I'm sorry for dragging on. So I'll just say it how it is, and what happened basically, in a nutshell, and I'll go in. There's many different facets and like dimensions to it. So basically, what the consensus seems to be, it's not exactly clear the reason why exactly, and I don't want to make any claims of like or assumptions that I know anything that I don't. But basically, my friend, here's how it happened to me. Really, I think is correlated. Well, there's many different ways I could start the story, but I won't go too extensive. I'll just try to say it in a nutshell. But just give me a second to like explain. But like, if I could sum it up in a title, what happened, like, for its minimum like words, really, is my friend, who was on a good like personal development path in his life, and he was like content and developing, and he was growing, and he was happy, and he was looking forward to every day. For example, look at this fucking message. That's me talking to him on Instagram before this happened, of course. So yeah, anyway, that's what's so surprising about it. But anyway, he, in short, he took a 3.5 of Liberty Cap psilocybin magic mushrooms, I believe. I wasn't there. He was with two people. One was family, one was friend. So I won't go into the details of everything because I feel like I should just refrain. because of the nature of it. You know, I don't want to like piss anyone off or like disclose anything that's like it's I don't feel like, but it was quite like it's a unsettling, like just to tell you the exact description of what happened. But in short, my friend had what was described by the other people there who were also my friends, like a terror trip or a horror trip. I got a message, and the message said like, "I'm sorry to tell you, but on Saturday he took a 3.5 and he had a horror trip and he took his life. So he killed himself on the experience." And I didn't believe it really at first. So that he was a very good friend of mine actually. We gone way back through like secondary school, like before our voices even broke and stuff. Until this was like just over half a year ago now. So we were close for a long time. But this is the thing. It goes quite deep. So. One second. Let me have a sip of this. One of the reasons why I was kind of wanted to reframe. All right. Well, it's because well, I'll get to that in a minute. So in larger context, because there's multiple layers of context. So let's take another step back. So not only did my friend kill himself on a 3.5 magic mushroom trip, for roughly what I remember to be about a 2-week period before this, and this is apparent because of the nature of what I talk about on this channel. I talk about personal development, spirituality, and other things of the same nature, of like awakening, maybe like somewhat like political awakening things, or like philosophy, epistemology, the nature of reality, like Buddhism, meditation, breathwork, cold showers. These were all things that my friend, before he took his life, was getting very interested into. He started reading into like ancient scriptures like the Kabbalion. He was very fascinated with what's he called? Miyamoto Musashi or some shit. I don't think that's what it is. But yeah, so the Kabbalion he got very interested in. So, but if you're familiar with what I talk about on this channel, and for those on the outside, if anyone else is potentially watching, like who's not familiar with this whole kind of scene of like the spiritual stuff, basically, I can assure you that spirituality is a legitimate field. It's a lot more nuanced than you might like. It's not like necessarily like woo ideas. You don't have to make any beliefs or nothing, but there's like there's just practices like meditation, where you can like practice this mindfulness of like expanding your awareness, or like cultivating like better attention and body awareness, and doing different healing practices like breath work, and taking things like magic mushrooms. So obviously I'm going to make this very clear. I would never ever advocate this for my friend. Never ever. Because me and him were both on the spiritual thing. But he had a different flavour to it, to be honest. He was much more like physical. He had critiques of me and my ways of spirituality. But so what happened basically is we were, like I said, before our voices broke in secondary school. And that's where we met, and we both became obsessed with Rubik's Cubes. There's a video of me solving Rubik's Cube in 27 seconds. You can find it if you just search OXSN Rubik's Cube. And me and him both were pros, and his brother as well. We also became pros at Geometry Dash, a game. If you know that game, it's legendary. And we both became obsessed with this and pros at that. Next up was balisong knives. We both shared the same obsession again. And this could have been a red flag to me. Not that I would ever expect it to go down this road, because spirituality is not what I thought it was. And Ram Dass speaks about this, Baba Ram Dass. And and these are people that will clear up confusions about spirituality. Like maybe some people have like fucked up ways of doing it, and I've been more ideological in the past. I'm a lot healthier about my views these days, but so yeah, don't do that to me, you fucking prick. Fuck's sake. So yeah, I think that was. Oh, and then the butterfly knives, balisson knives. We also us three became obsessed with. So that was a pattern. We liked the same things, but to be fair, he liked tennis and cycling a lot, and I didn't ever like that. Anyway, we parted ways. Uh, we parted ways. We both actually ran into quite significant mental health trouble, and this is worth noting. My friend had severe clashes with mental health in the past. Um, I probably was not as bad as that. His was, again, I can't go into the details, but like it gets bad because you can, and it's very real. Mental health, like especially if you start like mixing it with like man-made drugs. Which that's yeah. When I was 16, I started taking some pills a bit, and that really fucked up my mind. And my friend was dabbling in things of that nature when his mental health was really bad. And I met him once, and we hadn't met for a long time, so we both grown up a lot. Uh, and we also used to sit on Discord a lot and call. I used to have a Discord called Scylla, if whoever remembers that. That was good days, man. It was actually a group in the school that we were in, like a group that me and my mates made, like some like organization within the school. Scila, if you want to find that. It's still on the internet. There's still quite a bit on there. Made an album called It's Scylla, Not Skilla. Listen to that. It's great. Alright. That used to be my name on the internet before OXSN. But yeah, anyway, so I don't mean to plug that in this video, to be fair. Maybe I should leave it out. He wouldn't mind. So yeah, so I met him and he was quite down bad, and I was like lecturing him like, why don't you get up good, like, you know what I mean, like, because I'm always listening to all this personal development shit, and this was before he was on it, to be fair. So that's another thing, like he got on, maybe it was another thing, I got on and then he got on. It's like another one of them patterns, but yeah, he weren't doing too good. It wasn't a very great situation. He wasn't really loving it. We parted ways again, and then we met quite a while later, and he was getting, now he's into jujitsu. He eats like a fucking warrior. Uh, he's really masculine. He's taking his health seriously. He's got out of this rut. He's cleaning his house like every day. He's reading philosophies. He's getting into well, he wasn't getting into spirituality yet. He met me, and this was in the midst of when I started my channel. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. Or like, well, when I start, like, basically, like, I was taking a lot of mushrooms very often, and I was very young. And all these videos are on rumble.com/lowercase user/uppercase oxen. Or on Rumble, I've got oxen2 with no space. That's another account. And then on YouTube, but they did terminate me for stupid reasons that I won't get into at the minute. It's just Babylon being fucking. It's just a robot. Like, look, I'll show you why they prosecute. But I won't talk about that now. But I did not deserve it. It was stupid. You pour so many hours into your dream, and then this robot just takes it down for no reason. It's just like, it just deletes everything. I lost so many hours of video. Like, what the fuck? Oh well. It did sting my ego for a bit, but oh well. Yeah, so like basically I was, if you know Connor Murphy, if you're interested in what I'm talking about, if you knew who I'm speaking of personally, maybe check out Connor Murphy on YouTube. I think it will actually do good for you, maybe. And check out Adeptus Psychonautica, his videos on Leo Gura and his videos on Connor Murphy. It's and my old videos. It's basically like what I would kind of call spiritual psychosis. I actually had there's a YouTube channel called that. Psychosis is in quotes because I was like, I spoke about a lot this field of is it psychosis or is it awakening. Ryan Saunders, who's on this like similar wavelength, he has a lyric. He goes, "They call it psychosis. I see straight past all this BS. Play this game of life like Nintendo DS. DS." His bars are so funny. And I got psychosis. I'm on some schizophrenic and psycho shit. There's microscopical microwaves in your microwaves and in your microchips. They're dangerous and like guns and rifle clips and cystic fibrosis. My third eye shows me sacred visions. That's why I know this. I lost my mind, bro. Nothing inside. No, now I might try go to other sides. So see you goodbye. Though it is just I both stare at our eyes, realize you're alive, do or die, fight or flight. Suicide is a might. I'm so high I could die. 9 grams of liberty, cap psilocybin, magic mushrooms for breakfast, neural hyperconnection. So we met back up and we were updating each other. I met him. We just chilled out. It was cool meeting him again, and he'd changed a lot. And he was on this very productive, good path. And he said, "What's up with you then these days?" And this is relevant to the story. And you'll see why. I'll wrap it. I'll tie up some loose ends. Uh, so we met up again, and I basically told him, if you were familiar with the state that I was in, like, yeah, I was having some real awakenings, I would deem, and I can definitely say confidently that spiritual awakening is a real thing. There's many dimensions to it, different facets, but there's realizations about yourself and reality. They can be personal or like objective about the nature of reality, or they could be delusion. But regardless of if it's delusion or not, the something that is objectively true is that it does happen. You do like go into these trances of knowledge and download shit. Like that's what it feels like. So honey and coffee. I like caffeine. Definitely a drug, as well as sugar and weed combination. No baccy though, but nicotine is a nootropic and apparently it's good for you. I learned from Connor Murphy. So a video that I made before I started questioning deeply recently, like, hold on, maybe I have lost the plot a bit. Because I was having legitimate, like, awakenings. What do I mean by awakening? Here's a quick analogy. When you're young and a baby, you're very instinctual and you're like survival. You don't really know that you know yet. You're just going about. You know how your childhood is very hazy and blurry. You don't really remember. It's because you're not really properly conscious. You emerge and like grow as consciousness. There's a TikTok that was like when you're like 5 years old and you suddenly gain consciousness, and they're just playing, being kids, fucking around, and then the 5-year-old just goes, there's like a flashbang sound, and he just goes, he's like, where the fuck am I? And that's what it kind of feels like. It's basically like, it's like you realize the present moment. And I know that might sound like stupid to you, but it goes deep. There's many different degrees to your awareness, and what I'm talking, like, if you think I'm talking shit, right, and you think and what I'm aiming at holistically with the whole narrative of this story is that I influenced him, and we both then got on the spiritual path because he done it after me. It's not really relevant. Like, it's just some butterfly effect thing, because people are somewhat like would be looking for someone to blame in a way. I don't know if that's definitely the case, but that's the only kind of argument, is I turned up and I was very spiritual and then he got on it, but he was on a very different wave to me as well. Like, he was all about ancient scriptures and like occult knowledge and stuff, and I was like about like Alan Watts and Eckhart Tolle. It's different. Like, he didn't like Leo Gura, and I big him up loads. He thinks he's like manipulative and sneaky or some shit, and he doesn't. He was, I don't know. He said Terence McKenna's probably not good for me. I don't know, but that doesn't really matter. He didn't go too. He was just in his own lane. But anyway, he had Oh, what was I gonna say? That was the holistic. That was the full picture of what I was thinking about. But I feel like I lost the thread. But I'm gonna continue anyway because it will still work. Oh well. So before he took his life, what I remember to be, I think, I don't know if I said, about a 2-week period of what he would deem awakening. Let me elaborate. So I speak a lot about awakening, but let me tell you this. Besides from that, he called me one morning. I actually took 9 grams of magic mushrooms this morning. Not this morning, the morning that I was on about. Like, probably nearly a year ago. And it was a very, oh yeah, so it was a very like Buddhist kind of trip, it felt like. But hold on, I was about to say, I think, yeah, this is what I think. I lost the thread, sorry, and this is an important point. If you think I'm chatting bollocks and you think that I influenced him with some woo-woo ideas and it's my fault, I'm not saying it is. That is what you're thinking, but I've had that inkling for a minute, because I can't really disclose the full details. But you know, I turned up and I was like who I am. Like, imagine if Terence McKenna met up with a normal old boy and then that old boy started taking mushrooms as well, and then he killed himself. They would go, Terence, it's your fault. Because Terence is a mushroom guy. But if you think I'm chatting shit about the spirituality, basically, like, well, what do you think about like the entire fucking like field of Buddhism? Is that just the whole thing is just bollocks? Because that's what I'm talking about. There's different fields as well, especially in like third world, and like I don't know too much, but like amongst the Chinese and Indian and stuff, there's a lot more out there compared to the West, supposedly, as I've heard. But there are radically different. You know, why do we assume that like the Western typical way of seeing things is how it is? And I'll tell you, yeah, so I've kind of like wrapped up that kind of for the most part. And like, what do I think about them? Oh, I can't really say what he said, can I? Would that be, why can't I? Fuck it. It'll be alright. Alright, I'm gonna say it anyway because I feel like it's to the people who know spirituality, who listen to Alan Watts, who think about the no self, or the self with a capital S. I would never advocate nothing. Obviously, I already made that very clear. I did not anticipate this at all. But it's actually something I thought about afterwards. You know, like, I've contemplated suicide quite, like, when it comes to the spiritual stuff. I said to myself, like, not long ago, after the suicidal thoughts, like I didn't realize that spirituality is like suicide. Like, the way that it like you changes the way that you see what an ego is, like, very metaphysically. But it's like, don't make any assumptions and think you like, look into it, because it's quite weird actually, and I'm trying to be objective, and I know I might have said some crazy shit in the past and that, but I'm saying legitimately, spirituality is pretty legit. Like, when you really get into these teachers and like their questions, they change the way that like the whole way that fear works and things like this, and the whole, like, you can see your thoughts in a new light and realize that you was trapped in your mind, everything's a projection and shit like this. So, but what happened to my friend actually? So here, I'll sum it up. This is basically the downfall of my friend. So there was a 2 week period. So yeah, he called me one morning when I said I took my 9 grams of mushrooms. I didn't finish it. I'm gonna run out of storage. He said I've completely escaped the matrix, and I was like, yeah, man, I know what you mean. I spoke about this with Adeptus Psychonautica on the podcast we did. I'll link it below. I was like, yeah, welcome to the other side. You escaped the matrix. Good job, I guess. And we were both like talking about like how depression's just created in the mind, and all these like, you know, we're both taking psychedelics often, and we're both having like awakenings and listening to teachings, and it's quite profound stuff. Um, uh, but then he says that like, oh, he can see stuff, and he sees it's not real, and he said like he was in fear. He basically said to me that he was in like a 2 weeks state of like vibration fear of like the present moment, and he thought that he was going to be a normal person, but now he had like some sudden spiritual awakening thing, and now he's like on some metaphysical wavelength, and it's like he didn't, and it just happened, like as if, and if you know what I'm on about, then it's like potentially like proper awakening stuff, because we know, like I was listening to this girl, and I like, it seems to be legit because I've had it on psychedelics and with breath work, especially with combat, and he was doing the breath work, he's doing the ice therapy, he's doing the mushrooms, he was so disciplined, doing yoga loads, doing fasting, eating like a warrior, doing jiu-jitsu. It was crazy. Fighting all sorts, uh uh and he seemingly had an awakening, as how he reported it to me, and what I would say for myself, because I've had very like vibratory like awakenings on like psychedelics especially. But anyway, yeah, and then he took them, and he basically seemingly just like realized something. This is not a solid story. It kind of is, but we don't know that it was because of the spiritual awakening. That's the thing. I should have maybe made that clearer at the beginning more, but I'll edit it probably. But we can't be like 1,000,000% clear. But anyway, the last thing he said, which is relevant to what I was just saying, uh, this is vaguely his final words, and this is pretty accurate from what I've been told a few times by a few sources, but it's not the exact words. Not it's not like we got it recorded. Someone just like, it's like hearsay. He basically said like, he said something along the lines of, when I do this, I will be me. I will become me. And then he done it, and it was not socially and in most people's perspectives, it was pretty you don't want that going down. It's quite deep, um, but a lot of perspectives. So there's a lot that could be said about this, and there's a lot that could be said about it. Uh, But after this, I got really into staying grounded with psychedelics, because they were fucking me up as well. I was a loose cannon, and it's like almost like it just like happened to him as well. But it happened when I started to see Leo Guru and Connor Murphy. It got spread to me, and then it got fucking spread to him nearly. Like, that's how it's seen. It's like ideas are infectious, and they literally like will destroy your mind. But I talk about this. It's like you can literally like pierce the veil if you like contemplate in the right way, because you can like, it goes so deep, but most people don't try. And when it's like a passion and an interest that me and him both cultivated, and you get obsessed with this, like trying to figure out the nature of reality, and like listening to all these people that claim that they know, and meditating and quieting the mind and observing shit and doing breath work and all these weird practices, and taking fucking um psychedelics and fucking DMT and that. Uh, it's yeah, so I slowly miss, like, I think I was like really fucked in the head when it happened as well. Not because of it, but just in general. And when I like got my feet, when I got grounded again, uh, the morning like took place more when I wasn't so like insane. But it's hard, man, because it don't feel like insanity. Like I say, the whole debate on is it psychosis or is it like the government trying to keep everyone stupid or something? Because like it goes deep because people start fucking saying they're God and stuff. Like Alan Watts, Leo Guru and shit like that. And like when you start questioning like what is the self? Why do I there's all this happening and this is the self apparently, this pattern, this sensation over here. But I know it sounds kind of stupid on the surface, but you don't get it. It goes way deep. But when you like penetrate the question properly, it actually breaks this. Oh, I thought my phone just died. Is it gonna die? 3%. Yeah, I gotta go. But it kind of like penetrates and destroys the question, and it kind of like kill. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, rest in peace, my bro. I gotta go because my phone's gonna die, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, obviously, yeah, I do, I think about it often. Obviously, I don't. It's really, uh, but I mean, that's what happened. I haven't really said an awful lot about it, but that's what happened, and I feel like the psychedelic community should know that, maybe, because it's So yeah, I feel like that's kind of important to say. I hope you can understand that you don't think I'm a cunt for sharing the story, any of the family. I really don't feel like I'm responsible at all. I don't feel like I should even be defending it as much as I have. I should just probably stop saying that. But uh, like I mean, I can understand how like I like influenced it potentially, but it was not my fucking intention, and I was fucked up as well. And you know what I mean? It's not like I like fuck me. I didn't do that. So I think it's stupid to even assume responsibility for that. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stop talking about it. My phone's gonna die. So obviously, yeah. Oh fuck, it's on 1%. All right, I love you. Thank you for listening. My name is OXSN, OXSN. Catch me on every fucking platform ever. Goodbye. I love you.